I am personally a big fan of Gambit, but I do have my gripes with it. And one of those annoyances with Gambit is the fact that there's really no difference between most of the primevals. They're just big taken, and they all have the same mechanic to deal more damage to them, which gets kind of samey and kind of boring, which is fine for normal Gambit. But there's one boss that is different. The meatball, the Eye of Riven, whatever you want to call it, the big taken ball that will create immunity orbs for itself, and the primeval envoys. So I want to take the uniqueness of that and give it to more primeval bosses and make that part of my idea for a competitive mode. So this is kind of an addendum to that video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I have a video about Gambit roles already, and that just came out. So if you want to, you can also watch that. But the general idea here is that we give bosses unique mechanics for each one. And also, I'm gonna have a map featured. I'm just gonna have it like roughly drawn in MS Paint for this video and tell you about the areas and what it'd be like. So as time goes, this series should get better. I'll release one like once, or one a month, or one every 2 months. Just depends. At the moment, that sounds like a good schedule, but as we progress, these maps and primevals should look better, and I'm going to be pretty vague about this for now, but this is kind of a pilot for the series, so it will get better. But with that out of the way, let's just get actually into the video. So I'm going to start off with my primeval concept, and this concept is going to be taking from other parts of Gambit, the whole thing. So you know how we have taken ogres, taken captains as bosses, things like that, they're just kind of bland. Yeah, I'm taking one of those and just the ogre, and I'm not going to have the generic old, oh, there's 2 wizards, you kill them and you get bonus stacks and every third of the primeval's health, 2 more spawn. I'm not doing that. I'm giving it a different primeval envoy mechanic, and that's going to be the one from Prime. Yeah, Gambit Prime, if you are new, was an old game mode of Gambit that myself and a lot of other people enjoyed a lot. But the primeval envoy system in that was you had 3 taken wizards, and the reason this is different is because you'd kill the first 2 and the third one would spawn, and they'd have like acolytes or goblins or something with them, but when the third one spawned, you'd kill it and it would drop a pool of light. So your team could stand in the pool of light and do more damage, and if you left the pool of light, you'd have like 3 more seconds with that buff. But you could only damage the primeval while the pool of light was open. So once the pool of light evaporated in like 20 or 30 seconds, no more damaging primeval. And it just made you do more damage. You could still damage it without the buff as long as the pool was open. And the reason I'm associating this with the ogre boss is because taken ogres can apply knockback without stomping. Their eye beam gives knockback, and I think that is a great interaction between the damage mechanic and the boss. Yes, you can still damage it without the buff, but the buff makes you deal a lot more damage. So with the boss actively trying to push the entire team out of the buff and try to prevent them from getting the damage buff, it just makes sense to give the taken ogre the old prime buff, in my opinion. If you have other opinions on that, just tell me down below, but that's what I'm going with. It's simple, it's easy, and I think it just makes sense. But yeah, now we're going to move on to my map concept, and it's going to be pretty crude, so just hang in there with me and listen to my explanation and any other visual aids I put up on screen for it, alright? Alright. So I just want to give a fair warning right here about this being kind of cringe because it is MS Paint, so there's that. But in the future, it may be something like Blender, maybe, who knows? But we'll have to see. That just might take more time to do. So yeah, let's just get into it with this map. I told you, cringe warning. So, this would be at the Braytech ExoScience in Europa. Yeah, I think that's also kind of a weird, interesting choice for Gambit, being that how did Drifter really get access to it? Maybe the stranger gave it to him, or it's just a simulation. So, let's just get into the main mechanic I have for this map. If you haven't watched my previous Gambit videos, I think that the map should have their own unique mechanic, and for this, you know those shuttles or monorail system, whatever you want to call it, that is in Bray ExoScience that has those, like, coffin looking things? I'm not quite sure what to call them. Well, if you take those, and that yellow line in the back, that's their path of movement. On the right side of the map, that ladder looking thing would be a staircase, and you could climb up there. You could ride them to get to other parts of the map faster, or occasionally you'll see one glowing, and I will have a key for what colors mean what, but it can give you things like war mine cells, elemental wells, orbs of power, ammo. There's a lot of things that can give you, maybe even some motes, but it just has different options, and you just shoot it to open it, kind of like Apex Legends. So you have this coming every once in a while, maybe every 20 motes this pops in, and you can use it the rest of the time, or while you do it too, as a transportation system to get to other parts of the map. So that's the right side of the map. On the right side of the map, it's more like the server areas you see in Bray ExoScience, and I'll show a picture if you don't really know what I'm talking about. So it'd be that part of the ExoScience labs. It's just easy ways to make cover from invaders or from enemies, and I think it'd be an interesting environment for a Gambit arena. So we have that, and also the top middle area of the Gambit map is just kind of your generic, like, Legion's Folly middle, New Arcadia middle. It's just that classic 2 levels with ad spawning. It's a great place for invaders to camp out. It's a great place to see invaders from. It's just a good place to sit when invaders are there, and it's not the most interesting for fighting combatants, but for fighting ads, it's definitely not bad. So we have that also, and our bank is pretty scrunched up. It's the gray area there towards the middle, and I can see where people have a problem with that. Think like Deep 6 or even the Tangled Shore map, which I know isn't in rotation anymore and didn't have the best reputation. But it's a smaller primeval area, which could be bad, and this isn't necessarily just for the ogre boss. This would be any boss here. But yeah, I'm just pairing those two in this video. But this map also has those black lines being walls. Those walls are to either prevent invaders from just sniping you anywhere on the map, or so you can crouch behind them to shoot ads from a more protected space. Yeah, that's a pretty easy overview of this. Again, it's just the classic 3 spawn areas in Gambit. So if you have any questions about this map or the ogre or anything like that, just drop them down below. I'll feel happy to ask them or to answer them. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that should be about it for this video. Expect in the future these maps to look better than they do here. But yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing this series in the future, possibly in Blender. So yeah, stick around and give your suggestions for bosses or maps, and I'd be happy to look over them and maybe have them in here. So anyways, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.